Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Pit Stop TV. Tonight we're live to both Twitch and YouTube, so hello and welcome to NORC. I actually should update the title at the top of the screen, boy, should I. Cole, you're with me once again. We were live last night with IndyCars, we're live tonight with IndyCars, but very different situations. This is gonna be a heck of a show. We just got the brand new Texas. We just got the brand new Texas with lights, and here we are live with the NORC drivers getting ready to turn them loose for what will be one heck of a show.
Yeah, we had the SRCA guys last night in Monza. That was a great race. If you haven't already, go back and watch it. We got the NORC guys tonight. It's going to be very interesting. Usually I'm the one driving the ovals, but I decided to take a seat down and commentate tonight.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the scarier ovals too. If you drive IndyCars, maybe not scary, but definitely it can go badly quickly. These guys are going at upwards of 214, 215 miles an hour, and things can get hairy pretty quickly. Granted, the brand new turns 1 and 2, you'll notice are a lot flatter, a lot wider. That's something new to talk about with Texas. If we can get a car that is going around the racetrack, I'm trying to look for somebody. Here's Nate Stewart, so we'll go on board with Nate Stewart and we'll show this off as he comes flying down the front straightaway and gets ready to haul it off into turns 1 and 2. You see it's very, well, a lot flatter. I shouldn't say very flat, but a lot flatter, a lot wider, a lot more racing room, but it's also really, really hairy. It can get a car loose, at least in the stock cars, pretty quickly. We'll have to see how these Indy cars take to those banks. Obviously, turns 3 and 4 are just smoother now as compared to the old Texas, so definitely an interesting monster that these guys are going to have to conquer tonight. And Nate Stewart going to go to P6, it looks like, here in qualifying so far. We're wrapping the back end of qualifying up. We've got Nathan Lewis heading out onto the racetrack. We saw him get mixed up there with Scottless Rambler last night, Cole, and that definitely made for a heck of an early show.
Yeah, it was an interesting little battle there they had heading into turn 3. Nathan lost the back end, and unfortunately, Scott ran over him, but Scott came back to get third as we see Nathan Lewis now ring around about the middle line on the racetrack. He's going to head down through the front straightaway. When you get to turn 1, you want to keep it on the very bottom of the racetrack. I was testing the car earlier this week, and I got about a groove off. As you see him there, this is not his fast lap, this is his first lap, so he's going to try to get up to speed as fast as he can go. But once you get on that very bottom lane, you need to stay in there with the car, or else if you go up a lane at full speed, it's going to shoot you straight up towards the wall.
So as he comes around to take his fast time, 53 seconds remain. One other car on the racetrack. We'll switch to him real quick. That's going to be Aaron Smith in the number 70. We see him mix it up all the time on those road courses over in SRCA. A bit slow right now. Looks like he's not actually going to go ahead and take a full speed time. He's going to come around on turn 4 pretty slowly. So unfortunately, the 70 car not going to set a fast time. But Nathan Lewis heading out of turn number 4, heading down to the start-finish line. He's going to set his fast time here. It's good enough for... We'll move him up to
P2.
P2, a solid run. P2 to Scott Taylor by only 2 1/1000ths of a second. So very close there in times for the pole.
Yeah, that was a great lap by Nathan Lewis, but Scott Taylor just barely edged him out. After that, we're going to have Daniel Falkenham, Will Klein, and James Simmons round out the top 5 as we're wrapping up qualifying here. We'll get the grid up for you here soon.
Oh, and Aaron Smith has binned it. Definitely an intentional one there at the end of his run, but he binned it off into the wall. We'll go ahead and run down through your grid. On your front row, well, I was going to say on your front row, Scott Taylor going to be bringing us to the green flag. I'll try and get that caution out of the way. There we go. Nathan Lewis, as we mentioned, outside pole. Going back to row number 2, it's Daniel Falkenham and Will Klein. Row number 3 gives you James Simmons, Justin Lisenby. Row 4, Nate Stewart and Josh Robin. Then rounding out your top 10, Cole, it's Elijah DeGracia and Anthony Emery.
Yep, and then starting 11th, you got Spencer Madden, and starting 12th, the guy who normally commentates NORCs on Tuesday night, that would be Joseph Lombard. 13th position, that's going to be TCB, Tyrell Baker. 14th is Taylor Frey. 15th is David Shutt, and that's going to be the last of the cars that took time.
Coming in at 16th after not taking a time will be Aaron Smith. Then it's Bobby Chaney, Zoltan Herzog, Justin Gable, Tom Mercier, Jared Darling, Sean Williams, John Barry, Zachary DeMarsh, Scott Shire, Lucas Smith, rounding out your field of drivers here. 26 cars getting ready to get going here, Cole. We've been talking about the new configuration here at Texas Motor Speedway, and both Texas and iRacing have done a superb job of getting this racetrack looking pretty good. You can see actually here, going to one of our wide blimp shots, this shows a really good example, which is how iRacing has done of getting this Texas track to look really, really good. You see Big Hoss down the back straightaway. It all looks really, really good. I think this is actually one of the better jobs iRacing has done. Not to say that there's ever been a bad track that iRacing has put out, but this is a really, really good one. Looks really, really good, and I can't wait to see the lights come on.
Yeah, and we'll also have those fancy caution lights that they installed in the catch fence a few years ago.
That's right.
So that's going to be cool to see tonight, but this is honestly just a beautiful racetrack. I've always said that Texas Motor Speedway has a beautiful facility, even though I'm not one for racing here, but just an awesome track, and it's going to be a fun show under the lights here at Texas.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned those caution lights out around the outside of the racetrack on the catch fence. That's unique to just Texas. Obviously, you usually see the Wayland lights that are set up, the yellow boxes of lights that are set up around the racetrack that flash when there's a caution, and go out, obviously when you go green. But here at Texas, it's a bit different. You have, if you haven't seen it before, you have just these pylons that are attached to each pole of the catch fence, or every other pole, something like that, of the catch fence that light up. And it's really, really cool to look at as these guys roll out the pit lane. Do want to just preface the whole show by saying, obviously, these NORC guys, they have a lot of fun sometimes, and especially for their exhibition races, they really just have fun. Sometimes you'll see them do kind of crazy things. So, just want to get that out there before we get into a show where we expect these guys to be on their best behavior. Sometimes they aren't, sometimes they are. We'll see how it goes over the course of 100 laps here tonight. But 150 miles on tap as Scott Taylor leads us on to the racetrack here, Cole. I really have no clue who to put my money on to win this thing.
Really, the only car I know in this field that has experience is your 11th place man, Spencer Madden. He won a top split race earlier in the week, and that's really the only person I've heard about really testing out the car. But it's going to be a fun one. I saw plenty of guys going 3 wide in about 5-car groups during practice. So we're going to see how that pans out as the iRacing pace truck takes them to turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, the pace truck new to the oval scene. Usually you only see it on dirt, so it's good to see it rolling around this 1.5 mile speedway. So as the pace truck dips down into the pit lane, we've got these new aero screens on the cars as well. The IR-18 getting ready to go green. It's NORC. It's Texas. Green flag on the field. And Scott Taylor, Nathan Lewis lead us to turn 1.
And it looks like they both got a good jump over Daniel Falkingham and Will Klein, but everybody's 2 by 2, but they need to single file out as they head into turn 1. You see Nathan Lewis cut in behind. Daniel Falkingham's there, though. He's going to try to get the run off of turn 2 and try to catch Scott Taylor.
One car already down to the inside wall. Looks like he was able to save that car from too much damage. Not sure who it was. Scott Taylor leads the field out of turn number 1. Looks like we're going to have some paints refreshing here in a moment, but Scott Taylor leads lap 1. Then it's Daniel Falkingham in tow. Then it's Nathan Lewis, my bad. Will Klein follows in 4th. Then it's James Simmons rounding out your top 5.
And we're still 2 by 2. It's pretty impressive. Nathan Lewis actually got Daniel Falkingham on the outside. Not much we've seen through here, but everybody's just 2 by 2, 3 wide down the back straightaway, I believe.
And out of turn 4 for the second time tonight, second of 100. You see those guys immediately vying for position down the straightaway, or at least kind of a straightaway, down the quad oval. David Schutt sets your fastest time. Didn't even see him on the driver list. But he goes to the fastest lap so far as Nathan Lewis trying to go after that lead with Scott Taylor.
A big dive there. That was a blue car. That's Anthony Emery on James Simmons as they head into turn 3. Spencer Madden, he's actually caught this group very tight there.
One car on the fence. It's Nathan Stewart.
Stewart up in the fence.
Oh, he's collecting more. One car up and over.
Caution is out. Hard into the fence. Jared Darling misses
it.
Tom Mercier's in it. Nathan Stewart barrel rolling into turn 1 here at Texas. iRacing pace trucks out immediately after that. That was just an insane situation on the front straightaway, and I believe that started with contact between Spencer Madden and Nathan Stewart.
So we'll obviously get a replay up on your screen here. A massive accident here. Starting with, you mentioned it, Nathan Stewart, suddenly he was just in the catch fence, or not in the catch fence, but in the safety barrier on the outside of the racetrack, then came down, collected Elijah Gracia, then he collected Will Klein, sent him flipping, and cars just slamming into that quad oval wall, got T-boned by Tom Mercier, and it was just on from there. Tom Mercier just completely innocent, along with Elijah Gracia and Will Klein, had nothing to do with that, and unfortunately got collected.
And, you know, I'm not too sure that Nathan didn't have some suspension damage from the contact with the wall, because the way that car looked, it just looked like he was trying to turn it right, and it would not go. So unfortunate night for Nate Stewart already, but that's just a massive wreck here. Looked like Joseph Lombard actually got through that in the grass. Yes, he did.
Yeah, there were several cars that had to dive down onto the grass, the apron, and such to get by that. Pit stop starting now, though. Nathan Lewis going to stay out on the racetrack. Scott Taylor's a taker. Anthony Emery follows him down. Then you got Spencer Madden staying out. Looks like James Simmons, though, going to come down to the pit lane. Justin Lisenby stays out. Several cars taking service, several cars staying out.
Yeah, and we saw a bit of pit strategy last night in our coverage of the Monza race, so it'll be interesting to see how pit strategy shakes out through the 100-lapper tonight. But just a wild start to this race. I mean, we know it's the NORC guys, so it's always going to be intense, but we didn't expect the intensity to ramp up that soon.
No, definitely not. Actually, I think it was going to be lap 1 that we saw the first caution, or it was going to be lap 20 or so. This coming out on about lap 4, as Nathan Stewart again catches the outside wall, goes for a ride as he collects Elijah Gracia and more down the front straightaway. And unfortunately, just a massive, massive crash once they got to turn 1. Most of the cars getting through this, though, and I believe they've got at least one fast repair, so we'll see how these guys tackle that, as they still have 95 laps on the board to get going through tonight. So Nathan Lewis, your leader under caution, Spencer Madden, P2, and it's Justin Lisenby, Joseph Lombard, and Bobby Cheney. We're going to go ahead and take one quick commercial break. We'll be right back with your restart.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun, but there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the brand new Texas Motor Speedway. These guys getting ready to double up and do battle once more. A little over 90 laps left on tap as Nathan Lewis still your leader. Spencer Madden, Justin Lisenby, Joseph Lombard, Bobby Cheney, Taylor Frey, Scott Taylor, James Simmons, Justin Gable, Anthony Emery are your current top 10. Looking back through the rest of the field, several cars losing tons of spots due to that caution. Obviously, Nate Stewart, he was the center of that. Will Klein, they're both back to 25th and 26th. Elijah Gracia, 22nd. He's actually picking up a spot over Daniel Falkingham now in the pits. But several cars going further back to the end of the race field here, Cole, as we get ready to go green once more. Like I said, a little over 90 laps left as the pace car lights are off.
Yep, the pace car lights are off, and so are those beautiful lights on the outside of the fence here at Texas Motor Speedway. Pace track's going to head them into turn 3, but so far a wild night. It's been pretty hectic. We've had side-by-side racing all night. Nathan Lewis actually pulled off at a spectacular move around Daniel Falkingham on the outside. We have not seen that happen much in turns 1 and 2. Pace truck takes him through turn 4. Nathan Lewis, I don't know if he's going to go earlier, if he's going to wait till the last second, but we're going to see when he goes on this restart.
Pace truck dives down to the safety of pit road just past that Sunoco sign. Green flag waves in there on the power early. Couple of stack-ups further back in the field. We'll have to check in on that real quick, actually. Anthony Emery going around the top side. Lucas Smith and others just dropping anchor, losing tons of spots here. It looks like David Shutt, one of those that got through that. Joseph Lombard was one that fell and lost tons of positions. Looks like another car down on the bottom of the racetrack. John Barry possibly.
Jared Darling is around on turn 2.
So that was Jared Darling in the red machine, and he is...
And he bumped the wall.
Well, it's not too bad, that Ganassi throwback. Thankfully, it looks like he doesn't have too much damage aside from missing that left side of the wing. We'll get a replay on that, of course, as he just dropped complete anchor there on the restart and just went nowhere.
And that's going to be our second caution of the night here on lap 10. The actual caution was on lap 9, but so far 2 cautions. But maybe that could be a foreshadowing of what's to happen tonight. But so far, that restart wasn't as crazy. It looked like Jared just kind of lost it coming off of turn 2 due to the apron.
Yeah,
but
he just caught the apron and lost control there. Nothing too bad, though, for the number 1 machine. Just kind of nosed it into the fence, and unfortunately, just from iRacing's hitboxes, loses that left side of the wing. The damage wasn't even warranting of losing any parts of that wing, honestly. Maybe damaging the nose cone a little bit, but honestly, didn't look like it should have been that bad. Regardless, though, he's going to be 24th and coming around to the pit lane this time by, it looks like no takers up at the front of the field. Nathan Lewis continues to lead around this 1.5-mile facility. First taker going to be further back. Looks like that may be, well, trying to find him. Looks like maybe James Simmons or
That's
Josh Robbins.
Lucas Smith.
Lucas Smith, my bad. It's always hard to find that car that's dropping through the field there. Joseph Lombard, you mentioned, coming in. I see Zoltan, Sean Williams, several cars. Daniel Falkingham, Jared Darling, of course. Several cars coming in for service.
Yeah, and that's mainly the back half of the field that's actually come in. So they're going to get some fresh tires, see what they can make up here on this restart. Just to reset the order for you, it is Nathan Lewis, Justin Lisenby, Spencer Madden, Bobby Chaney, and Scott Taylor, your top 5.
Got the current running order on the right side of your screen for the whole top 20 as these cars exit the pit lane. One car getting the lucky dog. Tough to tell who that is. Looks like it may have been Scott Shire, actually. Was not. He's exiting the pit lane, so we'll try and follow up on who that was.
I believe it was Will Klein, possibly.
So Will Klein then getting the free pass, and that it was the number 48 machine. Blue and yellow colors on that thing today. We actually just saw that Jimmy Johnson will be running a number 48 IndyCar this weekend in the iRacing IndyCar Pro Invitational, or something thereof as far as the name goes. But he'll be competing in an IndyCar race this weekend, granted on iRacing, as those guys tackle Watkins Glen for the full course. That should be a lot of fun to watch this Sunday. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Jimmy rough those guys up in an IndyCar. It should be a lot of fun. He had a few issues last week, actually, in the eNASCAR Pro Invitational, but I think that's just getting used to everything still. So as we roll through a few more caution laps, we're going to take one more commercial break, hopefully the last one for a while, as we bring you action from Texas Motor Speedway. Let's welcome back to Pit Stop TV in the Texas Motor Speedway. Just passing Big Haas is the field as we get ready to go back green one more time. Hopefully just one more time. Hopefully this thing goes the rest of the way, but we'll see. Definitely, I think a low chance of that. Let's go 90, almost 90 laps, green flag, but we can cross our fingers and hope a little bit. Nathan Lewis brings us to the green flag this time as the pace truck getting ready to dive back down to the safety of pit road here, Cole, and No Limits Texas, I think, is a pretty good way to describe this racetrack as it's painted up on the wall. This place, bad fast as these IndyCars getting ready to go back and do battle once more. Green flag falls on the field. Nathan Lewis, your leader.
Yep, and Nathan gets out to a huge jump. Spencer Madden's going to follow in tow of him. It looks like it's a cleaner restart this time as they head off into turn one side by side for the third position. That is Justin Lisenby and Bobby Chaney. Bobby now down to the apron to get under Spencer, and he looks like he's going to try to get Nathan Lewis, but he can't get it done. Spencer Madden now to the outside trying to take that lead.
Spencer Madden trying to work the top side. Nathan Lewis flinches up there. Here comes Anthony Emery down the bottom side. Put him up into P4 there across the line. One car lose. That's Chaney down to the bottom side. He's going to lose tons of spots as now Emery and Madden will do battle for P2. And it's going to be one more car. Scott Taylor on the top side as Nathan Lewis blocks all the way down to the apron. Down the back straightaway, rather. Anthony Emery now falls into third. Spencer Madden trying to still get around that 27 car for the lead.
And Anthony Emery now to the bottom, 3 wide, almost in the dirt. Nathan Lewis does go in the dirt. Just trying to defend and keep this position there. Nathan Lewis with a little blink out there. Spencer Madden still hot in tow. But I believe that's Anthony Emery now swarmed by the old Castro throwback. Oh, he's turned. TCB's in that. Oh, we got one car.
Oh, one car in the catch fence. One car in the catch fence. It's Justin Gable.
Lucas Smith wrecked.
Several other cars.
Wrecked after that.
Several other cars in this mess, this calamity in turn 3. Anthony Emery kept wrecking all the way down to turn 4. One more car wrecking gets Will Klein. Massive accident.
Nate Stewart looks like he got stopped in time. I believe the car that flew into the catch fence there was James Simmons.
Justin
possibly.
Gable, it looked like.
Okay, I saw the car of James Simmons fly up in the air there. That's why I called that. But plenty of cars wrecked here. TCB, his car is demolished. I believe Scott Shire got through that. His car looks pretty clean. But that's the second massive melee we've had tonight. Josh Robbins in that and the Bobby Rahal throwback.
Watching this all unfold here on the replay, down the back straightaway, cars making contact. See the Castrol machine getting to the left rear of Anthony Emery. He goes for a spin. Another car gets up in the fence. Cars just go flying into the catch fence. The Castrol machine got by. It looked like, was that Elijah? Maybe they got caught up later on as Anthony was spinning. Hard to tell. Several cars getting tons and tons of damage here. James Simmons was involved. He was up into the fence. We'll go right on board with him.
James Simmons actually flew over Justin Gable, and then Gable came back up to the track into Josh Robin, and that sent him on a crash course into the catch fence. So good call out there, Andrew, with correcting me on Gable hitting the catch fence, but just a massive accident. TCB had a hard lick into that outside wall too as well.
Go ahead and ride on board with the 25 machine then through that. Because, yeah, actually, that was not Will Klein. I called that out as Will Klein at first. That was absolutely Terrell Baker, who got caught up in that whole incident after the fact. Will Klein actually got by that slow after the wreck had finished. So Terrell Baker was actually the first car up into the fence. So he was right behind it as it all started up and then just got caught up and was trying to, I think, get up to speed as you see Sean Williams go by, Elijah Gracia catch up to all this. And then eventually, Terrell Baker just... he turned up and I think made contact with Joseph Lombard well after the wreck. I think that's what had happened with those two. Because I'd seen Joseph Lombard fall down the standings and obviously one car spin after the fact. I think it was Terrell Baker and Joseph Lombard making contact.
It was indeed. Tom Mercier actually went down the pit road there. I saw where he did that to avoid that little after the fact accident, but wow, this has been an intense race early. We said we hoped there wasn't going to be any more cautions, but we got one almost straight away there.
Yeah, but that was some really, really aggressive racing there from everybody who was up at the front. You saw Nathan Lewis blocking down to the very bottom, the apron down the back straightaway. Anthony Emery, of course, shoving it up the inside and just trying to make room for himself, trying to find some kind of daylight. And then eventually, as he fell back after he and Nathan Lewis went through the grass a little bit down the quad oval, he just got collected by the rest of the field, and eventually it just got turned. And it's just David Shutt. Yeah, I was going to try to figure out who it was. David Shutt made contact with the left rear of Emery. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can't find somebody. Go ahead and talk to you now that we've got some laps down. I reckon we may as well try one Daniel Falkingham. This guy's always got something to say. So Daniel Falkingham, you got a copy?
Hey, what's up, Andrew?
Well, Daniel, we saw you get caught up in a couple of things early, and you've since recovered to, it looks like, P11. How's that car feeling?
I'm not sure how it's feeling after that first incident I had, and then getting hit under yellow. I think that's damaged my rear suspension a little bit. I mean, I got the rear wing changed, but I think my rear suspension isn't fully up to its full potential, and I'm out of a fast spare. So I don't know if it's really up to its full potential, but we're still hanging with these guys.
Well, I see you coming down the pit lane this time. How bad, I actually want to touch on the aero push real quick. How bad is the aero push around this place right now?
You can definitely feel it, especially in 1 and 2. There really isn't any in 3 and 4 because we can just go flat out. But you really have to hold it right near the white line. You have a lot of off-throttle time, especially if you're in the back where the most dirty air is. So, I mean, if you're up front, it's probably not that bad, but in the back, you can definitely feel it. So it's definitely a lot of off-throttle time, especially in 1 and 2. But 3 and 4, you can still keep it flat out.
Well, as you get service here and hopefully get some more repairs done to your race car, how far do you think you can recover? You're exiting the pit lane here, it looks like in P18, P19 maybe. Do you think you can get back up there, race for the win?
We'll see. I don't think we're going to be able to get the win, but I think we can still pull off a good finish because I don't think we're done with the wrecking. If more people get taken out, we can definitely make up a lot more spots.
Well, I hear you there. You've definitely got some damage, looks like, to the right rear, just in front of the rear wheel, maybe to the engine cover as well. Hopefully you can recover from that and get back up there, battle for a race win.
Let's hope. Thanks, Andrew.
So that was, of course, Daniel Falkingham in the Alexander Rossi paint scheme. And always good to talk to Daniel as these guys get ready to go single file this time up around the top of the racetrack. Spencer Madden, your leader. Pace truck lights are out. The 6 car getting ready to lead this field back to the green flag. Scott Taylor, Justin Lisenby in tow. That is Bobby Cheney, John Barry as the green flag falls on this racetrack.
And Spencer Madden gonna get that jump like we've seen Nathan Lewis get all night. Very spread out this time. But action back here with Taylor Frey, and I believe that's David Shutt to the bottom. He's trying to chase down Jared Darling as we head into the back straightaway. Josh Robin now making the move to the outside of Taylor Frey. So everybody's swarming around Taylor. Maybe he had a slow restart there.
And several cars swerving behind. Walking Nathan Lewis. So Zachary DeMarsh and James Simmons making some big moves down the back straightaway. They're going to single file out now. Now Nathan Lewis clears that number 11 car pretty easily. Zach DeMarsh moving in the wrong direction on this restart. Further up, Josh Robin trying to get a run, it looks like, on Taylor Frey. Oh, almost collects, who is that? James Simmons. No, I lost track of cars. It was Zoltan Herzeg around the bottom side, and caution falls for the back. Terrell Baker involved. He's sideways on the inside wall down the back straightaway. Get a replay up on your screen as the Terrell Baker machine on the outside, or inside wall rather.
I believe Tom Mercier also had a part of that one because he is missing his front wing as he comes across the front straightaway here.
It would definitely seem as though he does. Terrell Baker into the wall on the outside and then spins back up and catches Tom Mercier. And oh my gosh, Terrell Baker goes for a heck of a ride as other cars, it looks like, may have been involved. Hopefully, I think most people got by that one relatively unscathed, but Lucas Smith had a bit of a scare there, a bit of a code brown down into turn 3, trying to miss that incident as Terrell Baker still trying to get help from Tom Mercier on the back straightaway. We'll keep an eye on this. This is interesting, just seeing these two try to get that car unlodged from the fence. And I don't think that 25 is going anywhere.
Just to recap here, we actually had a pass for the lead. Scott Taylor's now your leader. Spencer Madden relegated to P2. P3 is going to be Justin Lisenby. John Barry is the 4th place man with David Shutt rounding out the top 5 currently.
So Scott Taylor started first and is currently back into first as we get another lucky dog around the racetrack. It looks like it's going to be that of possibly
Joseph
Joseph
Lombard.
Lombard. Yeah, the 82 machine gets back on the lead lap. What do you say we try and dial him up?
I say we do.
Gotta track this guy down. And Joseph Lombard, you got a copy. Joseph Lombard, you got a copy. Well, I can say for sure that we tried. Looks like he's silent there in his TeamSpeak world, as those cars down around the inside still trying to unlodge themselves from the inside wall. Looking around, what do you say? Let's go ahead and try to dial up one. I'm looking through the field. I was committed to that 82 car machine.
We could dial up the league owner, John Barry.
You know, we could do that. We could also save that one, and let's try and get a hold of one yellow man, Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Aaron, usually we cover races that you're in when it's the SRCA on a road course. Don't usually get to talk to you, but tonight, IndyCars around an oval, and, well, we've already seen you've been in some trouble. How's the car feeling?
Yeah, it feels all right, and haven't really wrecked yet, as far as I'm concerned. Rather, we've had a pretty good run. It gets a bit tight in turns 1 and 2, rather, and been pretty bad. I'm kind of confused myself, but I don't know. We should have a pretty good race from here on out, but people are starting to run out of their fast repairs, and our car count's dwindling. So I don't know. I'm lost.
Well, it's definitely shaping up to be one of those classic classic NORC exhibitions, rather, where we have those couple of big cautions at first, get some of the field out of the way, and by about halfway through the race, we should have some green flag racing. As we sit at a quarter, do you think you can get back up into the lead?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not I don't have that much experience with these cars, and we might end up running out of time in the server. We only have an hour left, and we've only gone through 25 laps, so we'll see how it goes. I'll try to do what I can, but if not, it'll be a pretty nice wreck.
Well, hopefully you go out in a blaze of glory if you do have to go out of this one. You mentioned the possibility of this being a timed race. Hopefully not. Hopefully you guys can get going green flag here for a little while. Hopefully the rest of the way, maybe. But best of luck to you in that number 70 machine.
Alrighty, thank you.
So Aaron Smith, always humble, I think, even on a road course when he's going fast. Always humble about his outlook on the race. He sits, well, after that pit stop, you saw him complete there while we were talking to him. He sits 17th. There's several cars going to come down. It looks like the pit lane here to top off on fuel, maybe get some more tires. A few cars getting some wave rounds going around the field. But up ahead, we've got Scott Taylor still in the lead here, Cole. And this, I think, is going to be another one of those big restarts.
Yeah, I believe Scott's going to probably get the jump over Spencer like we've seen all night, but it's just been a hectic race so far, so hopefully we can finally get some laps in here. I'd like to see a good little green flag run finally, put on some action for everybody watching at home. We thank you for watching tonight, but it's been a fun race so far. It's been fun up here in the booth, but hopefully we can just finally get a green run in.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from those commercial breaks. We've already burned 2 of them. And under this caution, again, we just keep getting more. Hopefully we can go green this time, at least for a little while longer, see how these tires start to wear around this 1.5 miles speedway. The resurface definitely has changed things in the handling of any car around this place. It's not quite as abrasive, obviously. Much higher quality pavement and just easier on tires in general, but at the same time, it's newer pavement. It hasn't aged quite as well, so a little harder to race on sometimes, as we've obviously seen. Definitely lends itself to fast speeds. Just kind of hurts the racing in a couple of ways once these guys get going at each other. But as Justin Lisenby makes his best impression of a Christmas tree coming to the restart, see a couple of cars looking to the inside. Scott Taylor in control. He fires up. Spencer Madden in tow. We're back green.
And Scott Taylor, just like we predicted with that big jump, it's going to be a big gap between him and Spencer Madden, and then a big gap between Spencer Madden and Justin Lisenby. It's relatively calm through the first 6 cars, and it looks like it's actually calm throughout the field this time. Only side-by-side battle I'm seeing right now is Sean Williams and Taylor Frey. Taylor Frey, he's just he's been dropping like a rock since the last restart, so don't know what's up with him, but it looks like he's finally got it sorted out as he clears Sean Williams heading into turn 3.
So several cars losing lots of spots throughout the early portions of this race. Sean Williams settling into 14th. You mentioned him. And Sean is not one that I would peg for much of an IndyCar guy, but you see him rearing his head here and always a part of these NORC races usually. Usually actually has pretty quiet but good days over on the Cup car side. And recently, I think he was pretty close to making a chase berth. I think he may have, actually. It's hard for me to remember. I can't keep those chase fields up in my head, but I'm pretty sure he made a chase berth and I think might have just gotten eliminated with this week's race at Phoenix Raceway. But still, just one of those guys you can always bet on for a pretty decent finish, but currently running in the now 16th spot, going to go get passed by Aaron Smith for the 17th position, as Daniel Falkingham also having issues here.
Well, we've got 5 cars under a blanket, 3 wide into turn 1 for 3rd place. That is David Shutt on the bottom. Justin Lisenby way up the track. He nearly hit the wall. Spencer Madden has been hounding Scott Taylor. And they're side by side. Spencer's been trying to get him on that outside, has not been able to do it. You can get a really good run through turn 3, but I don't think Spencer can get Scott until turn 1. But the way turn 1 is, it's just very hard to keep it on that outside.
3 wide that time down to the turn 1 as these guys settling into the banking, then back down the back straightaway. Spencer Madden goes to the outside of Scott Taylor. He's looking for pay dirt on the top side of the racetrack. The number 6 trying to take this lead away. And right now it seems like you can pass all you want behind the leader, but it's going to take a miracle to get by that lead car, as now David Shutt looking to go 3 wide on the inside of Scott Taylor. Can't quite get to the inside of that left rear of the 95 machine as Spencer Madden runs high out of turn number 2, gets a big run down the back straightaway, and gets back by the 49.
And Spencer Madden, he's very fearless in these cars. You can tell because he's been high, wide, and handsome all night. He's going to try on the outside again as they drag race to the line. Give that lap to, I believe it was Scott Taylor.
Oh, inside, and Spencer gets touched. Oh my gosh, what a save!
What a save out of Spencer Madden. That's an incredible save. It's side by side now for the lead. David Shutt's going to tuck back in behind Scott Taylor. I believe David actually spooked Scott because he threw it 3 wide there into turn 1. Here
comes
David
on the bottom
Shutt
again.
now.
David Shutt making aggressive moves. Wants that lead. 3 wide now. John Barry through the middle. I don't know how he was going to make that one work, but he definitely did. Nathan Lewis falls into 4th behind this 3 wide mess for the lead. 3 wide, David Shutt bottom, John Barry middle, Scott Taylor top as he retakes the lead.
John Barry, the league owner himself, he's making his name known up in the front. He's going to go to the lead.
Oh, car to the grass!
That is Zoltan Herzeg. He's going to save
Oh, he
the
took
grass.
air. He took Travis Pastrana lines through that grass. Back up to the front, though. Nathan Lewis falls into 2nd place as we have a new leader. It's the 74 car of John Barry. Scott Taylor retakes 2nd place. It's David Shutt in 4th.
And things finally settling down. Well, no, they're not. Here comes Scott Taylor back to the outside of John Barry, trying to get the lead, just like Spencer Madden was earlier. Can he get it done? Will Nathan Lewis
3 wide for
in there?
P2.
There he goes. In the middle, Nathan Lewis back up to the front now. David Shutt hounding John Barry on that bottom
and
lane.
Scott Taylor caught the fence just a little bit. I don't think he did any damage, but he definitely caught that outside wall with his right rear. These cars starting to get tight exiting turn 2 as a move to the outside from Nathan Lewis. He wants the lead.
And at the line, it's going to be John Barry with that lap led. We're working lap 37 now. 3 wide almost. No. David Shutt decides better of it. It's going to be 2 wide between Nathan Lewis and John Barry as they head down the back straightaway. Car on the fence. It's Spencer
Madden in the wall. Scott Taylor. Oh, Jared Darling. Jared Darling down to the inside wall. He's up and over now and got hit and did a barrel roll off into turn 3. Several other cars collecting some damage
Lombard's
here.
in it. Joseph Lombard with the entire rear end of his car knocked off, as well as Spencer Madden. He's got the front wing and rear wing knocked off. Very hectic situation. I believe that started with Spencer Madden getting way too high off of turn 2 and up into the fence.
It definitely did. Spencer Madden caught the wall on the outside of the racetrack. Just got a little bit arrow tied, it looked like. We had mentioned those guys starting to just get tighter and tighter and flirt with disaster on that outside wall. Scott Taylor caught it. David Shutt had to lift a ton. That time Spencer Madden gets hit by Jared Darling after the fact, and Jared Darling got caught up. It looked like, I can't tell what machine that was, but Joseph Lombard came piling in there. Several cars just didn't have time to check up and missed that one, as a couple of cars were obviously sitting, crossways on the racetrack, as we'll watch this whole lap unfold from Joseph Lombard's point of view.
And it looks like Spencer actually got picked up by the car of Taylor Frey and threw him up into the air for what looked to be like a 720. We're out here doing skateboards with the IndyCars tonight, but that was an interesting crash. I believe the dirty air of Scott Taylor actually may have put Spencer Madden up to the wall, because with these IndyCars, the dirty air can almost carry your car into a fence if you're not careful.
Oh, and it was actually, Joseph was getting woed down, and he got run over by Aaron Smith, it looked like. The 70 machine just did not really stop for that 82, and unfortunately, I think that's going to be the end of possibly both of their races. We'll have to wait and see how the damage impacts them, but Taylor Frey actually, he kept going. I think that was a different car that was lodged in the outside wall there, but we have a new leader. Well, he's led a couple of laps under green, but holds that lead, I guess we should say, out of the pit lane. John Berry going to hold on to P1. Then it's Nathan Lewis, Scott Taylor, and Cole. That was a pretty good run there for a few laps.
Yeah, we finally got some laps in, and to update you, the car stuck in the fence was James Simmons, so not so great night for him. We've had a few retirees finally out of this race, but it's been a hectic few laps. That was a great battle we saw for the lead between those 5 cars that were up front at the time.
Yeah, those guys were throwing every move they had at one another, going 3 wide, almost 4 wide, any moment they could, and really made for some really good racing. That's what we want to see out of these guys. We don't want to see the end result, unfortunately, with Spencer Madden there catching the fence, but we do want to see those kinds of moves. 3 wide of the lead. It was really cool to watch. Do want to quickly take one more break, hopefully just one more, and we'll be right back with the restart here from Texas Motor Speedway.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
And welcome back to Pit Stop TV. Andrew Cardinale and Cole Fralick bringing this one to you from Texas Motor Speedway. Got the NORC guys out here for some IndyCar racing. Open wheel, but now closed cockpit, or somewhat closed cockpit, as IndyCar has added those aero screens. You can see it here on the 74 car of John Berry, your current leader. I'll actually get a better look at it for you here. You can see the crossbar, center of your, well, I guess top of the aero screen actually, with the crossbar, the center bar, replacing that AFP, I believe it was, for short, that protected the drivers. So as we get ready to go back, green flag racing here from Texas Motor Speedway. John Berry in control, and it's Nathan Lewis and Scott Taylor, your top three.
Green flag.
And they're back on the power down the front stretch, and John Berry with a massive lead already.
And it looks looks like everything's going to be chilled out this return. And after one, it looks like it kind of looks like top row. They have their own confidence. But these are beautiful race cars with the airspeeds look at it. Look how it looked. And Lewis not happening. John Perry once again. We're going to see these top 4 cars close up together while the rest of the field stays and go behind. They move to the outside, heading into turn 1. Will Clyde all the way up on the outside, trying to make something happen.
Definitely having some connection issues there with Cole's microphone. Unfortunately, it sounds like some connection issues, making him a bit Mr. Roboto, but side by side go the leaders off into turn 3. Scott Taylor in tow of John Berry down around the bottom side. They gain the advantage for now as caution flies in the back.
And the caution's
Zach
going to be a
DeMarsh
huge
involved
wreck.
and several others. Scott Shire, Justin Lisenby. Looks like Spencer Madden got by it, thankfully. Several other cars involved in this. I mentioned Zach DeMarsh. Looks like maybe Joseph Lombard was in it again. And a massive wreck out of turn 4 again.
I saw Justin Lisenby doing pirouettes, but that's just another high-speed crash we've seen in turn 3. Seems like turn 3's kind of been the trouble spot tonight for these guys.
Definitely. You see the tail end of what happened there. Nate Stewart was involved as well. And we'll try and get a look at exactly what happened here to Zach DeMarsh. Try and get it up on your screen at least. As we'll go on board with the 11 machine. And Zach DeMarsh was having kind of a quietly decent night. He was up there battling with David Shutt. And it looks like just gets turned. He completely got turned.
Yeah, it looks like he may have slightly turned down on Lisenby there, but once that happened, it's the classic open wheel crash we always see where the wheels go over each other. Lisenby hard into the fence, and then we had a secondary accident after that. That was actually Scott Shire getting into the back of Joseph Lombard. Nathan Stewart plows into that, picks up Scott, puts him back down. So about a 5-car incident here on lap 43 of the race.
Yeah, no, now that I see it again, DeMarsh definitely turned down into the 31 machine of Justin Lisenby, and he was just along for the ride. A big flip as his suspension was entirely destroyed, as you'd imagine. And that 31 car not going to drive anywhere after that one. So definitely another massive crash there in turns 3 and 4. Definitely the trouble spot. You called it out there. Has produced a lot of our wrecks thus far, and we're really starting to get closer and closer to that timed end mark of this event. They only had about an hour from the 25 lap mark. It's been 20 laps, most of those thankfully under green, but we've had 2 cautions that are taking up some time, so I'd imagine we're looking at about having, if I had to guess, around 40 minutes left, maybe a little more, a little less, as the time is just winding down on this race.
I think we have about, it looks to be about 40 minutes, 35 possibly. But we want to go ahead and update you on the cars out of the race. Nathan Stewart has just parked his car for the night, as well as Daniel Falkingham, Tom Mercier, Terrell Baker. Josh Robbins still sits on pit lane, but that car is done for the night, I believe. So, unfortunate night for those guys, but it's been a wild one here so far, Andrew.
Yeah, it definitely has. A lot of the heavy hitters, you can see right there on the second page of our results, already out of the race. You mentioned them. Terrell Baker being one of them, Tom Mercier as well. Even, Josh Robin and Justin Gable, those guys, a couple of faster guys on the NASCAR side. Daniel Falkingham, of course, also out of the race. James Simmons sits P21. And you mentioned Nate Stewart out of this thing. You can see him there, P20. He's parked. Justin Lisenby has gone for a couple of wild rides. Joseph Lombard, even, he's usually commentating over these races with one Rudy Cummings. Want to give a quick shout out to Rudy and the Max Speed crew. They do a pretty good job Tuesday nights bringing you the NORC NASCAR series and most of the NORC events. We're lucky enough to just be here for a one-off. And I want to thank John Berry for the opportunity to come broadcast this thing for NORC. And he's actually, again, your current leader over Scott Taylor, Nathan Lewis, Will Klein. You see the current running order down the right side of your screen there. So, Cole, as we get ready to get back racing here in a couple of caution laps or so, we're getting close to that halfway mark. Who do you have for this thing?
Right now, from what I've seen, it looks like Scott Taylor and Nathan Lewis have been the 2 faster cars here. I'd like to see Spencer Madden actually get back up there. He's currently in the 11th position, so if he can work his magic the way he did in the early stages of this race, get back up here, I believe he might have something for Scott and Nathan, but these 2 looks like It looks like they are the fastest cars here so far in Texas. We're under the lights here, but it's going to be a hot one tonight, so it should be fun.
And it has been thus far, and it's definitely been rather hot with a whole lot of tire smoke from all these wrecks. But, if I had to put my money on somebody, negating who you even took, I'm going to be looking, I think, around P4, P5. Will Klein, Elijah Grassi, a couple of reserve but quick guys, especially in these Indy cars. I think those two might have what it takes to come up from 4th and 5th to go win this race. It's just gonna be a matter of wrecks, honestly. I don't expect either one of them to be the start of it, but I think they can definitely persevere for a pretty good run if they don't get caught up in one, as David Schutt spinning down to the inside out of turn number 2 under yellow.
Well, David must have just lost back in there, but you talked about Elijah there. Elijah actually snuck up into a second place finish last night in our IndyCar broadcast for the SRCA guys at Monza. So Elijah's always kind of sneaking up towards the front of the field. Towards the end of these things, John Barry's going to lead him through turn 3 and 4 as we're going to get ready to go back to green here on lap 47. John Barry's your leader with Scott Taylor, Nathan Lewis, Will Klein, and Elijah Drew Gracias rounding out your top 5. John Barry leads him here to the green flag. He's going to take off. Get a big gap over Scott Taylor. Not a big gap between Scott Taylor and Nathan Lewis, though. Nathan Lewis within striking distance, heading off into turn 1.
And you see the field getting up to power here through, well, I was going to say through turns 1 and 2, and then he got blocked off by that camera angle, but John Barry with a big lead at the start-finish line. Not so big here to turn number 3. The draft aiding Scott Taylor back up to his gearbox now to the outside of that machine. Nathan Lewis looking to the bottom. That door gets shut pretty quickly. Here comes Will Klein. He goes around the top side. He wants P number 3 and some more. I see Elijah Gracia and Aaron Smith in tow. Sean Williams behind that, but these top 6 under a blanket.
And Scott Taylor trying to work that same move that Nathan Lewis put on Daniel Falkingham early. Tight racing here as they head into turn 3. Nathan Lewis all over the gearbox of John Barry. Going to look inside. Can't get it done. Going to tuck back in line. Elijah Gracia and Aaron Smith have now joined the party. So we got about a 6-car battle heading off into turn 1. This should be a fun one to see. Nathan Lewis now
threading the
to
needle.
The outside.
Threading the needle to make that move. He falls back now.
Scott Taylor nearly put up into the wall because of that move, but Nathan Lewis trying the outside just like he did early on. Here comes Will Klein now on the bottom side. Scott Taylor in behind him. Elijah Gracia now up to help Nathan Lewis. Side by side, heading off into turn 1.
John Barry continues to play Pied Piper for now. You see Nathan Lewis making some interesting moves, trying to thread his way up to that top spot. Now John Barry goes down to block the draft and block the inside. He's going to take the inside through 3 and 4. Will Klein, he's 3rd. Elijah Gracia through to 4th place. Scott Taylor falls to 5th. These guys single file out for a moment, then side by side once more through the quad oval down to turn 1.
4 cars side by side heading off into turn 1. Elijah Gracia actually made a quick move to slot himself in between Will Klein and Scott Taylor that lap. Kind of doing the draft snake down. Nathan Lewis on the apron. Can't get it done there. He's going to tuck back in behind John Barry. Everything kind of getting single filed out now as they head off of turn 4.
He's right on board of the driver of the 27 car. He's going to go back to the outside, trying to make a move around this 74 for the lead. And John Barry is held pretty good on the bottom side, but I got to wonder how his tire is going to hold up with those constrained entries to turn 3 each time having to block the inside. Meanwhile, Nathan Lewis kind of gets that arc down, well, kind of running the middle actually. But definitely John Barry going to have to start opening up the wheel, I think, just a little more on exit to try and save those front tires, because he's having to turn down pretty hard, entering a lot lower than the rest of these guys, and that's certainly going to put strain on the right front.
And I would say out of the guys up front that have the best tires, I would say it's Elijah Gracia. He's not been side-by-side too much. He has been side-by-side a little bit, but he's kind of keeping it single file behind him, as I believe that's David Schutt now looking to his outside, heading off turn 4. Behind them, Sean Williams and Aaron Smith have joined the party. Well, Aaron was already in the party, but Sean Williams and David Schutt both have entered themselves in the party. Anthony Emery, Spencer Madden now battling for the 9th spot as they head off of turn 2. And that is the 4 car going to the bottom. That is Zoltan Herzog.
Big moves here from Elijah Gracia and David Schutt, though, for 5th place. And You know, I was thinking about something, Cole, throughout the day, getting ready for this broadcast, and really the biggest thing is absolutely dirty air. That's the biggest thing to worry about in these Indy cars on any oval, especially here at Texas. It's so fast and so fast-paced and so close together. Dirty air is going to be the biggest thing to think about. Obviously, we've been talking about it so far in this race, but it's a matter of how you work through that dirty air. It's all up to the driver. It's all up to the driver to decide if he wants to use that to his advantage and drag down the straightaways, or if he's going to get stuck behind somebody through the corner and, as Spencer Madden did, push up into the fence and cause a big wreck. It's definitely reared its ugly head a million times so far in this race. We asked Daniel Falkingham about it. I don't know who David Falkingham is, but asked Daniel about it. It's clearly made a difference in this race as wheel to wheel go Will Klein and Scott Taylor. Now Nathan Lewis, the leader of John Barry.
And Nathan Lewis actually finally made that outside work. He's been working on it for about 5 laps. Finally got the run in turn 3 and cleared John Barry. They now go back to single file as behind them. We got a side-by-side. Whoa! Very hairy situation there. David Shutt shot up the track. Elijah Gracia nearly hit the wall. Scott Taylor's going to pick up a few positions with that. And I believe Sean Williams and Zoltan Herzeg have now entered up in here trying to grab some spots. Emery's working on Aaron Smith behind them. But everything's kind of settling back to single file as John Barry now working on the bottom side. Whoa, tucks in behind. Nathan Lewis heading down the back straightaway.
Everybody vying for these positions. The top 4 single file, then side by side go Scott Taylor and Elijah Gracia. They get it figured out. Then John Barry back to the top side. David Shutt looking for a hole. He's going to go to the bottom.
To the inside.
3 wide. David Shutt with the power move down to the white line. Can he hold it? Nathan Lewis tight out of turn 2, washes high, but he's going to get a big run down the straightaway as well, as he's going to clear that 49, and John Barry gets relegated to 3rd as Scott Taylor looks down the bottom side.
And John Barry looked at running the outside, but he said, nope, I'm good, thanks, and I'm out of here. He's going to go back behind David Shutt, going to look to the outside again. No, he's going to tuck him behind him. Here comes Scott Taylor trying to get himself back up into the party.
Oh!
Big
Elijah
contact there between Elijah Gracia.
Yeah, the 14 got loose. He caught the left rear of Will Klein. Thankfully, they saved it. Another one out of Spencer Madden. That one out of the Corona extra machine. The 48 car, Scott Taylor takes 3rd place. Clears the 74. Oh, and on the gearbox was John Barry. As a pass for the lead, David Shutt takes over.
And Will's, like he always says, it's Corona time. Here he comes towards the front. He's up to P5, P4 now. Side by side with John Barry for that 4th Scott Taylor and get by him. But the top 3 stay single file. David Shutt going to now try to get a run on Nathan Lewis. He's going to go to the inside here. Can Scott Taylor get a run on both of them and go to the inside? No.
He
thought about it.
He wanted to. He just wasn't quite there. So David Shutt and Nathan Lewis, they continue to battle. John Barry sits P4. Will Klein goes to the inside of him now, trying to make that pass for 4th place. The 48 machine down to a very small racing line on the inside of the Verizon. Number 74 is out of turn 4. Contact almost. I think their side pods might have touched. That was really, really close. Almost floor pan to wheel as side by side they go for the lead. And Nathan Lewis back through to P1.
And this is the beauty of open wheel racing. Side by side, wheel to wheel. If you make contact with the wheels, you might fly up into the fence. Just a very fun style of racing. It's always scary for the drivers themselves. But from a spectator standpoint, it's always great to see these guys wheel to wheel fighting for the lead. Like we see David Shutt go to the bottom of Nathan Lewis now for the lead. Nathan Lewis going to try to wrap back around the outside. He does it. It's going to be dead even. Drag race off the back straightaway. David Shutt tugs back in behind him.
So a pass for the lead as the top 3 switch it up once more. Will Klein looks like he's through to P4, getting by John Barry. As here comes David Shutt looking to the outside. Scott Taylor down to the bottom side. 3 wide once more. Nathan Lewis the middle. David Shutt's going to back out of that and get back down to the middle of the racetrack as that 3 wide imploded on itself pretty quickly, but in a good way. They just backed out of it. Now Will Klein goes to the bottom. Contact as Scott Taylor's going to block that move, and Taco, as they call him, just said no to Will Klein, shut the door, and got back out of there. He shoots back into P2. David Shutt in tow.
And David Shutt now looking to the inside.
Whoa.
Tight. Scott Taylor way up the track. That's going to be interesting. Side by side behind him between John Barry
David
and
Shutt.
Will Klein, not John Barry. Sorry about that. David Shutt and Scott Taylor all involved. Well, we saw that kind of leading up with how they were racing, but we didn't expect to see it that time because it looked a lead now. John Barry going to relegate himself to second with Elijah Gracia behind him. But we're going to go back and check out the replay here. I don't know really what happened. It looked like somebody got loose and then turned.
David Shutt, it looks like, got arrow tight once more, caught the outside wall, and we're going to go all the way back and get the onboard here as you see them blocking the lap before. That was Scott Taylor saying no to Will Klein, but watch this 49 machine as we're going to go on board with him now, actually. It looks like he just gets arrow tight and gets the fence again. We saw him at the end of that first longer run that we had start to just get tighter and tighter and tighter, and this time again, it looks like, yeah, just into the fence and just gets turned. Nowhere to go for Will Klein and Scott Taylor.
Yeah, Scott just picked him up over into Will. And here's the thing, contact like David had on the wall there could have broken the suspension, so that wreck was going to inevitably happen anyway. But that takes three of arguably the best cars here in the field out. I know you mentioned something about Will, and I mentioned something about Scott myself. So that's going to be two of our picks out of this race, but just a terrible accident for these guys happening on the back straightaway.
A little bit of contact in the pits as David Shutt makes a little bit of contact with the left rear of Lucas Smith. Those two cars, I think, without damage, but that could have been a little bit worse there in the pit lane. You never want to make contact at 200 miles an hour, but definitely also not in the pit lane, the safest place on the racetrack, you would think. And that can tear up equipment pretty quickly, but they're going to get out of the pits unscathed, and David Shutt going to use his fast repair, get back on the racetrack, and hopefully get back into that lead battle, because that was something. Now, exit the pit lane, it's going to be, it looks like, Nathan Lewis leading, actually in the 42. Elijah Gracia leading us, well, not leading us, leading the rest, I suppose, up to the gearbox of Lewis. So on and so forth, so a pretty good comeback for the 6 machine.
And Joseph Lombard's officially out of the race, and we believe Will Klein could be, because that car is severely damaged, and we think he used his quick fix earlier on in the race. So a heartbreaking night for Will Klein. We usually expect him to be at the end of these races, but it doesn't look that way tonight.
No, and there's several names that you would think would be battling for a race win. Close to it here come the end of these races. Unfortunately, just out by virtue of massive accidents, as you usually do with these IndyCars. But definitely, I think, a heightened amount just because this doesn't matter at all. They don't have an IndyCar series. If you want IndyCar racing with some of the NORC guys, you got to go to the SRCA IndyCar World Series. We had that event last night from Monza. That was an amazing race, a two-stopper that we didn't know was going to be a two-stopper, Cole, and it definitely added to the drama.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one here in not this coming Thursday. We will be on the air for the Pro Mazda Series for SRCA, but the week after that, these guys are going to go to, the SRCA guys are actually going to go to Indianapolis. Me and you will be there. We hope to have Victor back that race, but it's going to be a fun one for us broadcasting up in the booth.
Yeah, for sure. We have Daytona coming up in just under a week's time. Then we go to Indianapolis, as you mentioned. So a couple of interesting racetracks up ahead. That Daytona race will be the road course for those Pro F2000s, but still going to be rather interesting as they rip around the oval between the infield section and that bus stop, and then back around to turn 1 just past the start-finish line. That's certainly going to be fun to watch with those Pro Mazdas. Sometimes, always a handful, I should say, but sometimes even more so, and it's going to be interesting, I think, to see how those guys tackle that. I'll wave around here in just a moment. Looks like it's going to be, if I had to guess, Justin Lisenby.
Justin Lisenby.
Yep, he should be getting this around here as he comes across the line behind the pace car. Nathan Lewis, your leader. Then it's going to be the names of Elijah Gracia, John Barry, Anthony Emery back into the top 5. Sean Williams making his name heard. He's going to be lining up P5 for this restart. Then it's Spencer Madden, Aaron Smith, Zach DeMarsh, David Shutt P9, and Scott Taylor rounds out your top 10.
And Taylor Frey is going to be 11th behind him. Zoltan Herzeg. Bobby Chaney following up him in 13th. Jared Darling in 14th. Lucas Smith in 15th. And to round out our cars other than Justin Lisenby that are currently on the track right now.
It definitely looks that way. So as we get ready to go green once more, the field passing Big Haas one more time under yellow. 30 laps to go the last time, 29 laps to go this time by when they take the green flag, and we're going to show it to you on board with several cars. We're going to crank it up for this restart and show you the sights and sounds of this IndyCar race at Texas Motor Speedway. Cole, watch these last few, the side pods, the aero screens of these race cars, we crank it up.
Green flag, green flag.
And you saw the spin on your screen there. Zach DeMarche goes for a quick spin. Don't believe anyone was involved in that. Out again as they slowed down for that caution. Zach DeMarche, the lone spinner. And Cole, that was fun to watch there for a moment as we had a couple of onboards, and then unfortunately that 11 car goes for a spin.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Zach, he just caught the apron, doesn't know damage to the car, may have killed the cone onto the pit lane, but other than that, it looks like he's going to be able to go here.
So as we sit tight for one more yellow flag, hopefully it's the last, as we have 28 coming to 27 laps to go. It should be around 24 when we take the green flag next time. We're going to take one more break, though, and rest our vocal cords for just a moment and get ready to go back for 25 or so green flag laps to the end, we hope, as this is Pit Stop TV with coverage of the NORC IndyCar exhibition here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement. Racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races, you can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check.
welcome you back to Pit Stop TV and the NORC iRacing series with the IndyCars out for an exhibition at Texas Motor Speedway, No Limits, Texas. Again, a pretty good way to sum this one up. These guys have had plenty of wrecks thus far, but still a pretty good race overall as we get ready to go green once more. I called it out, 24 laps to go as we go back green flag. The pace car down back to the safety mode is 23rd.
And the first two are actually gotten away pretty clean. That's Elijah Gracia and Nathan Lewis. But as we've seen on every restart, these top 5 or so cars are going to close in and then going to bring the rest of the field with them. So Sean Williams and Spencer Madden, they might be the last 2 of these cars to get up there and battle with them. But nice comeback for Spencer so far. We saw him wreck early on there after an incredible save. As we got a battle for the lead now, Elijah Gracia to the outside of Nathan Lewis heading into turn 1.
Bang machine makes a bang here for the lead. I'm sorry, that was pretty bad. But Nathan Lewis trying to defend his moves as Elijah Gracia looked down to the bottom, then had to go back to the top side. Now almost clips the right rear of Nathan Lewis. Narrowly gets to the outside of that car as John Barry going to follow through. Make it a 3-car battle. Here comes Anthony Emery. Another pretty big comeback for that driver. David Shutt now in this lead battle as he moves Sean Williams out of the way and takes that position over. Almost contact at a 2 as well as they go back to the inside wall.
And we have about 2 packs forming with Spencer Madden leading off at the end of the first pack, and then Scott Taylor leading the second pack. Those cars are they're about 6 cars each in each pack, but we got 4 cars under a blanket here for the lead battle. Nathan Lewis leads him off into turn 1 with Elijah Gracia behind him, John Barry and Anthony Emery way on the outside.
Oh, and John Barry had to cut his move back to the top side to get a good entry for 3. Anthony Emery was on the outside there. Now Shutt goes through to P4. He's going to look to the outside of John Barry. Pass of the grass goes Elijah Gracia. He dropped 2 wheels of the green stuff. Almost lost control, but gets it back under him and under the gearbox of Nathan Lewis in time for turn 1. He loses some time. Emery up into the fence almost. As Shutt
did catch the ball.
Shutt and Barry keep doing battle here off into turn 3. That brings Sean Williams into this battle as Spencer Madden gets ready to try and pounce on this one. But David Shutt trying to go back around John Barry has to sit behind him for now. Is a big move to the inside for the both of them as they try to open 42 machine.
And it looked like Shutt was actually going to commit to the move, making it 3 wide there, but thought better of it. He doesn't want to wreck that car once again because he's out of fast repairs after the latest incident he had early on. But to reset it for you, Nathan Lewis still out front with the lead here. Elijah Gracia in second, John Barry in third, David Shutt fourth, Sean Williams now up to the top 5 position along with Spencer Madden in 6th.
Big move here from Shutt. He goes back down to the inside lane, tries to pick up a couple of them.
We're going to be 3 wide here.
Sideways, contact!
Caution is out. Caution is
John
out.
Barry, Elijah Gracia saves it. No, he doesn't. He wrecks it. He almost had it saved and then it whipped back around on him, so that's going to take 2 more cars out of the running for this one, it looks like, unless they both have their quick fix.
He's collected in this one behind it. And John Barry's machine in tatters, trying to get back out of the pit lane. The Verizon 74 definitely limping home in this one. And he had such a good run going, Cole. Really unfortunate to see it come apart here in the later stages.
Yeah, him and Elijah were both having great runs. And we always talk about Elijah being up front there at the end of these races, but unfortunately tonight it doesn't look that way unless he can get his quick fix and get back out there. But so to reset the field here, it's going to be Nathan Lewis out front, David Shutt second, Sean Williams now up to the 3rd spot, Spencer Madden in 4th, and Scott Taylor is now back up to the 5th spot.
Showing the replay first, though, you see John Barry, David Shutt making a couple of big moves to go to the inside of Elijah Gracia. That was the lap prior. So watch this whole thing unfold as David Shutt is going to make a big move down to the inside of those 2 here in turn 1. Watching from the big sweeps outside of turn 1, actually. So you'll see them go right under here. There goes Shutt to the inside. He makes a move to the inside of the 42. Then they all just kind of run out of racing room as John Barry washes up, and Elijah Gracia gave him no room for error. I think really Elijah just needed to pop up out of the corner. Knowing you're 3 wide there, you have to run the top side. You really can't constrict those guys on exit because that's exactly what happens.
Well, John Barry actually touched wheels with Elijah due to washing up, and it looks like when he did, he got loose and then just overcorrected back into Elijah. Elijah caught the rear end of his car on the wall, came back down, nearly got Sean Williams. Great job by Sean to get through that wreck. But just unfortunate wreck for both of those cars, being the two of the 5 fastest cars here in Texas so far tonight.
Yeah, and again, I really think if you're Elijah Grassi, you've just got to pop up to the wall there and accept the fact that you might get past, because you've got to race for 16 more laps, and unfortunately, neither one of them get to do that now. So David Shutt, he goes through to P2, and that's probably been the fastest cat, I think, out of this whole bunch. He has definitely shown that he's willing to make some big moves, so David Shutt using the draft to his advantage, using these the massive downforce generated by these IndyCars to make some big moves down to the bottom side several times over and over and over. Nathan Lewis might be a sitting duck on this restart, and he fakes to the inside. I don't think he's spinning. No, he's not. These two cats are going to have a massive battle. Sean Williams, P3, Scott Taylor, 4th, and it's Bobby Chaney.
And we actually talked about Spencer Madden being up there. I think he pitted for tires, so he's going to try to mount a charge up here. He's fallen back to the tail end of the cars on the lead lap, I believe, possibly. But we're shaping up for a good finish here. Hopefully within the time constrictions we've been given. We have about 10 minutes before we get cut off here.
Yeah, it's looking on the better side, but not by a whole lot. Obviously, these cautions take up a lot of time and definitely delay us racing. It's going to be close, honestly. If we get another yellow, we might not make it. It's really hard to tell. Obviously, this will be a few more minutes before we go back green, and only about 25 seconds a lap, a little bit less for some of these faster times, but it's just hard to say right now if we're going to make it in time. It's going to be close, though.
It will be close indeed, but I want to keep my eye on Nathan Lewis on this restart. He's had the strong car out up front all night. He's kept them in tow. John Barry, we called him the Pied Piper earlier, but I believe Nathan Lewis is giving him one run for his money tonight.
Well, what do you say we try and dial him up real quick? Talk to the driver of the 27 real quick. Nathan Lewis, do you have a copy?
Yeah, hold up.
So we'll give him one moment to sort his stuff out as he leads this field under green. Nathan, you got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, it's certainly been a lot of fun to watch you throw some moves there with John Barry, David Shutt, Anthony Emery, and more. Do you think you have what it takes to hold off David Shutt for 14 big ones?
Well, I guess we'll see, because he's like sending in a T1, and hopefully we have the grip to be able to keep it on the high side. Or for now, like, he'll probably make contact, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, he's definitely made some big moves, especially down at a turn 1. You mentioned it. He's just been sending it down to that white line. How aggressive are you going to be protecting?
I don't know yet, because I still prefer that second groove, the wide entry, because it allows you to go flat. So, like, I might just stick to that. I haven't decided yet.
All right, Nathan. Well, best of luck to you. We're hoping you make it back in one piece and give us a show.
All right.
That was Nathan Lewis. He's got 42 laps led, Cole. That's honestly, with how crazy this race has been so far, that is a massive amount of laps led for that driver of the 27.
Well, it's mainly been because of him and John Barry swapping the lead all night. But to reset the race for you here, we're going to restart with 13 to go. Nathan Lewis is your leader with David Shutt behind him. Sean Williams finally up into the top 5 like we talked about earlier. He's going to restart P3. Scott Taylor in 4th. Bobby Chaney in 5th. And then rounding out your top 6 is going to be Zach DeMarche after his hard wreck early on in the race. Nathan Lewis pulls him through 3 and 4 as the pace truck pulls off. Nathan Lewis going to get the jump here. There he goes. David Shutt kind of keeping in tow with Sean Williams and Scott Taylor. He didn't get too far out this time. So we're going to have to see how this battle shapes up.
Side by side already go Anthony Emery and Zach DeMarche behind Bobby Chaney. Those two doing battle, it looks like, for about the 6th position. As down to the apron go the rest of the leaders. Nathan Lewis already snaking down the back straightaway to try and block the draft, or, well, break the draft, rather, of David Shutt, but it's not going to do anything for him. Here comes the 49 Castrol machine up to the outside of the 27. Side by side off into turn number 1 once more. Almost touching wheels. That was close. You can't do that in an IndyCar.
Kind of a body slam there from David Shutt. He was trying to get as low as he could to keep the line. Sean Williams kind of opening door for him to catch up. Scott Taylor just lurking back here trying to see what he can do. David Shutt to the outside off of turn 4. Drag race to the line. Give that lap to, I believe, Nathan Lewis led that one. Scott Taylor now to the inside of Sean Williams, trying to shuffle him back and get up into this lead battle as they head off a turn 2.
Snaking down the back straightaway once more. Sean Williams is going to retake P3 as Scott Taylor holds on to that white line around the bottom. David Shutt go on board with him. He goes back to the outside of the SimbuCube 27. Across the stripe, it's still Nathan Lewis, but David Shutt trying to work that top side. He's doing a pretty good job so far. He just can't clear the 27 car, and it's pretty hard to do so. We heard Nathan mention he likes the top side because you can roll flat out, but you're also sacrificing so much time to that inside car, especially when you get back around here, the turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway. That inside line is obviously just the shorter distance. It's a lot faster. As now he's going to go to the bottom.
Whoa, into the
passing
grass.
They
David
both go to
Shutt,
the grass.
there they go, wreck.
All right, man.
Oh, he's going to come
Shutt's
back
in.
across.
Big
Oh, tons of cars in this one.
That's a massive incident. It looked like David Shutt got forced to the grass there, tried to stay in it, tried the Travis Pastrana trick we saw earlier in the race, but it did not work, and that just led to calamity in turn 1. First wreck we've actually, I believe, seen in turn 1 all night. Most of the wrecks have been off of 2 or in turn 3.
And that was a pretty big one there. We'll get the replay up on your screen here momentarily. I just don't know where David Shutt planned on going here. We saw him making some big moves earlier. He was sitting pretty docile around the top side, kind of just trying to work and chip away at that lead, and eventually just found the move that he liked. I'm not sure it was a pretty good one, though. I don't think it was in, I think the best of minds, I guess. I don't think that was ever going to work. You saw him just kind of poke his inside wing, and they both go through the grass, and they come back together, and, man. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate, but the good news out of all this, Sean Williams is now going to be the leader. So Sean Williams sneaking up there like usual, but just an unfortunate wreck we saw here. 2 guys really fighting for the lead there. They both went into the grass, and I believe really they would have had it straight, but Nathan just lost it coming back on, and that sealed the deal for both of them. And then more cars just piled in hard into this wreck.
Zachary DeMarsh, one of those that was involved, he got turned and then hit again, so that machine gets more damage. Looked like it wasn't too bad for him, though. John Barry was involved, so those 2 Verizon machines picking up some more damage here. We'll watch from John Barry's perspective. We watch from DeMarsh's. We'll watch from Barry's now as he was battling with Anthony Emery. I think Anthony was involved, so several of your front runners that were kind of just falling back there and then setting up for another big run to the front get involved in this one. You see those cars go to the inside, make contact, and then nowhere to go for these guys. John Barry up into the outside wall head first almost, and that's just another big one.
And you saw John Barry and Anthony Emery were both side by side. John Barry actually got clipped almost Felix Rosenquist style by David Shutt, and then Nathan Lewis came back up and got Emery. So both of those cars who were battling for position both got taken out in this.
Yeah, a bunch of really good cars going to go to the back of the field, and it looks like of the cars that are new to that lap down class, you're going to have David Shutt, Nathan Lewis, Anthony Emery, John Barry. Zoltan Herzeg is now out of this thing. Zachary DeMarsh, it looks like, is also going to go to the back of the cars that are still running, but it looks like at least Lewis, Emery, Shutt, and Barry all going to be down for the count. I don't think any of them are going to get back on the racetrack, unfortunately. So your top 5, you mentioned them: Sean Williams, Scott Taylor, Bobby Chaney, Jared Darling, and Justin Lisenby. Now your front runners.
And it's going to be interesting here if we can get restarted in time. We may be looking at a 2 to 3 lap shootout if indeed we can get restarted. Spencer Madden was involved in that wreck. Unfortunately, he got a piece of Zachary DeMarsh, who was picked up by Aaron Smith and turned around while trying to slow up for the accident. So Mark Spencer Madden is one of the cars out of this race now.
Was actually still on the racetrack. He is running P6. So he's still trying to run. Oh, I see him with tons of damage down there on the bottom side now. I see what you're talking about. But he is running. He's just got a lot of damage, and I don't think it's counting his laps anymore. I think he's got a meatball, but still trying to outlast some of those guys for a spot. Maybe trying to get that meatball flag cleared and limp around to the end. He's down around the bottom side. You see that very injured race car. We'll try and get it up on your screen here. There you go. You see there's no front wing, and it looks like some other things just very damaged on that 6 car. The suspension actually looks relatively okay. I think if they were to let him race, he would be tight but be able to keep racing. It's hard to say what the admins are going to do with that. but maybe some side pod damage as well on the left side. But I think that car is relatively still serviceable if they let him keep racing.
Well, that left front suspension is severely damaged. That wheel's not even touching the racetrack currently.
I see that now. I see what you're talking about.
I was looking at his onboard, and he had it steered all the way to the left. So maybe he can get it serviced. Maybe not. Who knows? But here he brings it to pit road, trying to make a desperate effort to get some spots out of this race.
Yeah, that's unique. How the left front isn't even spinning; it's just getting carried along, and he's having to steer, like you said, to the left side. I see that now going on board with him here. So Spencer Madden. You called it. Looks like he will be down for the count. I don't think he has that fast fix now. Yeah, the left front's completely destroyed. He sets it down. You saw that car dip down on the front end, and he's going to escape out of that race car, and that looks like that's his night done, unfortunately. So Sean Williams going to be your race leader. He's not having to steer too far to the left. He has a left front that's spinning. So the rest of these cars, looks like we've got about 9 of them going to do battle for about 4 laps as we go back green here in just a moment. Flirting with that time constraint, but it looks like we're going to make it.
Well, I'm looking at the time limit right now. We're at an hour and 24 minutes, so it looks like it could be a 1 to 2 lap shootout for the guys here in the NORC IndyCar exhibition here at Texas at night.
Lime Rock
racetrack.
I heard that.
No,
you almost said Lime Rock.
I almost did say Lime Rock, but I meant Fort Worth, Texas. But anywho, I'm in a completely different series. Ignore me.
Yeah, that's more than just a different series. You're clear up to Connecticut there, the Northeast. We're down in the great state of Texas as we get ready to go for 4 laps or just a couple. Depends on what we have here once we get the green flag. We should get at least 3, maybe that 4th last lap. We might have a 99-lap race on our hands here, though. Sean Williams going to take the green flag. He's stacked up a little bit. Jared Darling, he almost ran in the back of Bobby Chaney, but they go green once more. Scott Taylor, P2.
And Sean Williams trying to break away, trying to get that win here in the NORC IndyCar exhibition. As it's going to be Scott Taylor chasing him down for it. He's going to look high on the back straightaway. Got to run. There he goes to the outside. They're going to be side by side into turn 3. Car sneaking up into this battle. It's going to be Bobby Chaney. Jared Darling, guys we haven't talked about tonight, looking to get the win.
Here comes Bobby Chaney, looks at making it 3 wide, backs out of that one. We've talked about Scott Taylor making some moves, not these other guys, not the rest of the top 5. Sean Williams currently your leader, but Scott Taylor, he's been up there. The rest of these guys, not so much. We don't know how they're going to race. We don't know if they can hang with the 95 cars. He tries to make them pass around the top side once more. Jared Darling slips down into the bottom side in that Ganassi throwback. Bobby Chaney through to P3, that all-black car on the bottom side as he gets a little loose there, catches the grass. Looks like we're good for all 100 laps here tonight as we get the 2 to go signal. Popsicle sticks in the air, that time by the flag stand. 3 wide further back, trying to figure out the rest of the top 5. Bobby Chaney loose, hanging on to that race car side by side.
Contact!
Almost. Jared Darling almost makes contact. Here he comes looking for the race win.
Jared Darling chasing down Sean Williams. It's going to at the line, so 1 lap to go here from Texas. Sean Williams on the bottom side. Jared Darling on the outside. We're shaping up for a photo finish here, unless anybody else can touch him. Jared Darling to the apron. Goes back up top. Sean defends. Wheel to wheel as they head off of turn 4. Here we go.
Oh, contact! Jared Darling through to the bottom.
Contact at the line.
He's going to
It's gonna be Jared Darling.
he's going to get it. Jared Darling for the big win. Sean Williams stuck in the outside wall. Scott Taylor, he comes through. He's 4th. Justin Lisenby, he takes 3rd. A close finish as it looks like, unfortunately, dropping a few frames. Hopefully you guys saw that, though. A great finish with Jared Darling coming out on top. A last-second, last corner move. He just got to the gearbox, gave Sean Williams a shot, and said, get on out of here, I'm taking this race win. A solid move there out of Jared Darling.
And it was beating and banging. That's some NASCAR NORC stuff. We usually see the beating and banging to the line, but they left it all hanging out here in the IndyCars. Sean Williams spun at the line. He will be credited with the P2 finish. Justin Lisenby 3rd. Scott Taylor comes home 4th, and Aaron Smith comes home with the 5th place finish.
So you see the unofficial results alongside the right side of your screen. We're going to go ahead and take another break. Hopefully dial up a few drivers here. Hopefully speak with your top 3. If not, we'll get some other drivers throughout the field. But Jared Darling going to be your winner. Sean Williams, the victim of the bump and run, unfortunately falls to P2, but what a great run out of those two. They both got set back early in the race, especially Jared Darling. I think he was in the first or second crash. Comes through to win this thing here at Texas Motor Speedway. Then it's Justin Lisenby, Scott Taylor, and the rest there, the right side of your screen. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with driver interviews here from Texas.
Once again, photo finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerrick at the line.
Well, welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway here at Pit Stop TV. We've got a few drivers on tap for you. We're going to be starting off with a fourth place finisher, though, Cole. It's Scott Taylor. This guy showed tons of strength all race long. These guys call him Taco. Scott, you got a copy?
Hear you loud and clear.
Well, first of all, I want to hear the origin story of calling you Taco. Hopefully it's serviceable for TV, but yeah, why do these guys call you Taco?
It's a long time baseball nickname back when I was in high school. Mainly because I just ate the crap out of Taco Bell. That was my go-to after games. So
you know,
that stuck and it works better than Scott.
That makes so much sense now, seeing that Taco Bell paint out there. But really good run from you tonight. You qualified on pole, and you definitely, I mean, you led 17 laps. You showed that you were fast, and you were making moves with the best of them all night long. Unfortunately, though, you come up short, P4. What happened to you at the end there?
It looks like an unfortunate bit of neck there. I figured I had a decent run on the outside. He was going to be holding bottom the whole time. I didn't think I'd try and punt the pass him there at the end, but you know, I guess someone tried it. But I was going to try and get around the outside there. It didn't work out.
Well, certainly, I think the seas kind of parted there a couple of times for you. You get through to P4. Could have been a whole lot worse if you were, say, David Shutt or someone else that got caught up in those wrecks. But a wild race tonight. I've seen you over in the NASCAR races. Usually I'm out there with you, but what's your experience overall like with these IndyCars? Because really, Cole mentioned it earlier, we don't know how you guys are in these things.
Well, my first IndyCar league was the first league I joined on iRacing, and that's primarily what I did, and up until I joined NORC. NORC's actually one of my first cup leagues, and it's been a blast there, and I'm glad you guys did an IndyCar race.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to watch. The aero push definitely reared its ugly head, but also 215, 220 miles an hour down into the corners was a lot of fun to watch. And guys are swerving, making moves down the back straightaway. Pretty good run for you, though. Again, you qualified on pole. You come up P4 at the end. Maybe not what you wanted, but still a pretty good run.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take P4 over being in the wall or in the fence. So thank you very much.
And there was certainly a lot of that. Real quick, before we let you go, though, Scott, who do you have to thank for this P4 run?
Well, first I got to thank Jeffrey Stanton for the fantastic paint job. He's the one who put all the work into it. All the rest be a little touch-up job with the halo being added. He does a fantastic job with IndyCars, and that's really who I got to thank. And Lisby also for getting me into NORC. He's been a good help again and teaching me a lot.
Well, 10-4, and we'll be talking to him in a moment. Scott, thanks for your time. Hopefully we're talking to you more in the future.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
So that was Scott Taylor, your P4 finisher, rather. And he mentioned Justin Lisenby for getting him into NORC. Cole, I believe you're trackside with the driver of the 31 car.
Justin Lisenby, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, it was an interesting race out there. From your point of view, how would you describe the night for yourself?
Oh, well, the whole first half, I was just kind of going for it, because, we did have the fast repair, so it was just sort of whatever happened, and, I did get involved in a wreck, so we had to take the fast repair, and the whole second half of the race, I was just taking it easy, trying not to wreck, and that's just what I did, and we got third.
Well, it was a great run. It looked like all the storm was happening around you there on that last lap, but you just kind of cleared sailed your way into a third place, so good run for you tonight. But really, it's just a product of racing here in NORC, how you guys are always just, I don't know, what's the question I'm looking for? Here we go. Just kind of wild and beating and banging, even in an Indy car. So would you say this is going to translate next week for you guys? I believe you race Atlanta for the Cup cars.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everybody in this league, we're all pretty close, and so we all kind of know who races and, how they race each other, sorry. So, a lot of them are pretty aggressive, and a lot of the time it'll result in wrecks like that, unfortunately. But, overall, I mean, we're not used to that kind of stuff, so I think it's still really fun. And, unfortunately, the first half went the way it did, but the second half was pretty fun.
All right, Justin. Well, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, I think, Revin for putting this whole thing on, you guys for broadcasting, JDR Graphics, and Summit Crowder Racing.
All right, that's your third place finisher tonight, Justin Lisenby. As Andrew, I believe we are going to try to reach Sean. If we can't, we'll go to our winner.
We're just going to go ahead and we're going to move up to Jared Darling. Jared Darling, you got a copy?
I do.
Well, Jared, heck of a run. We saw you getting a couple of incidents earlier on. I think you were in the first or second caution, and suddenly you're the race winner with a bit of a bump and run move. We don't see that in IndyCars, but it certainly worked out.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure how. I don't really drive these cars that often, and I wasn't really sure how it would drive, so I was trying to get in the pack a little bit at the beginning to see how it feels, and got involved in the wreck and had to use the reset kind of early, so I just kind of rode around, really, let everybody kill each other, because that's kind of what was going on out there. We're all on top of each other. But I mean, it was pretty fun when we had the racing, and I kind of learned, that second groove is actually working, especially after a few laps in the pack. I was able to make some passes, and it just all lined up there at the end. I was in second on the white flag. I knew I had a shot, and Sean put a really good block on me down the back. And then I tried to cut underneath him, didn't work out, and went into 3, and I didn't really mean to move him up the track like that, but it just kind of happened. I mean, I don't like to move people like that, but it just kind of happened. So I mean, if he's mad about that, I apologize. But we still got 1-2 out of it and got a win. It was pretty fun race.
Well, you know what? If you're going to make a bump and run happen in an IndyCar, I think that's the best way to do it, even if you weren't planning to. It certainly worked out. You led the one lap that mattered in the end of it all, and you mentioned those guys just kind of exiting the race by themselves, by their own devices, a bunch of wrecks earlier on, but you made it through the rest of them after getting caught up, like I said, in the first or second. You made it through. You just somehow were 1-2 with Sean Williams for that move, and like I said, I think one of the cleaner ways to do it. So even if you don't want to make a bump and run, that was certainly one of the better ways to do it. Cole asked Justin how this is going to translate into the NASCAR series. Maybe a little bit of momentum to next Tuesday at Atlanta. Definitely a completely different animal, but hopefully it maybe boosts you to a better finish.
Yeah, I look forward to that for sure. Atlanta, I would say, is a good track for me, and if this is some sort of momentum to carry into that, I hope so. That'd be great. Looking forward to Atlanta, though. I expect to run pretty well there, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I'll certainly be pulling for you a little bit, as hopefully I'm out there next week. Missed Phoenix, but I hope I'll be with you guys next week out in the 22 machine. But before we let you go, Jared, first of all, again, congratulations on the win. Who do you have to thank for this performance?
Yeah, y'all for broadcasting this thing, and I'll have to go back and check it out for sure. And John Barry for putting this race on tonight, and everybody that watched, and Sean. Shout out to him. If he's a little upset with me, I'm sorry, but we still got one too. It was nice to win. It's been a while since I've won something, so feels good. And yeah, we'll go to for this league, go to Atlanta and see what we can do there.
Sounds good. I think my mic keyed up a couple of times there with my cat entering the room. Sorry about that. But Jared, hopefully we're covering maybe another race or two in the future around here. If not, I'll see you out on the track. It was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
And he mentioned looking for this broadcast afterwards. Obviously, if you're watching already, I can tell you our Twitch and our YouTube channels, Pit Stop TV on YouTube, Twitch/pit underscore. Oh my gosh, I can't even get the words out. Twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV is where you can find us these days. Getting back to the dual broadcasting days of YouTube and Twitch. But real quick, we have one more driver to talk to, Sean Williams. That was a heck of a run.
It was something.
It was definitely something. What are your thoughts there? First of all, we'll just get straight to it. What are your thoughts there with that bump and run for the win?
It doesn't matter. The race doesn't mean anything.
Well, fair enough. But you had a pretty good race going. You lead 8 laps when it's all said and done. What are the positives you can find in this one?
I like the caution lights on the fence.
Fair enough.
Pretty cool.
Fair enough. They are pretty cool. Cole talked about them a lot. Cole, you got anything? Go ahead.
Well, and we can now have like the pace truck on the regular 1.5 miles.
I noticed that was pretty cool.
It came out because that's my favorite pace vehicle. So I like having the truck out here.
I noticed. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, Cole talked about the caution lights. Bringing Cole into this. Cole, what do you have for this guy?
Sean, you really just kind of snuck up there tonight. How did you manage to avoid all the wrecks there trying to sneak your way through the field up to the front?
To be honest, man, I don't know. I didn't qualify. I wanted to start at the back, chill at the back, and keep my fast repair, but I lost that in the first yellow because we went bowling under caution. So I had to use that, so I just stayed at the back, and they all kept wrecking like right in front of me, and I was just able to avoid them. I don't know how. It was like, I think that's all my luck for the rest of the year. I'm going to be in every wreck from now on.
Well, certainly, hopefully it didn't use up all your luck for NIS or any of the other streams you do. I mean, you'll be racing Monday night in the IMCA series. Sadly, that is not broadcasted, but hopefully we can talk Tony in that broadcasted soon. But other than that, who do you got to thank tonight, Sean?
Revan for putting on the league. I mean, it's pretty cool of him to do this. You know, everyone doing the stay at home as much as we can, trying to be responsible, and you get bored. So it was really cool of him to put this race on and give us a taste of the IndyCar. They feel kind of the same, but you know, they look different, and we got the new track. So that was awesome. Everybody who showed up tonight, we had like 26 people, which is pretty good. And you guys for sticking around and broadcast. We had a lot of cautions. I know it was a long one, so y'all were troopers for hanging in there for that.
Yeah, rolling up on 2 hours here. Our SRCA show is usually about an hour, but it was certainly a lot of fun. Sean, definitely can tell you're a little bit dejected there, but you had a really good run, and I think to just kind of fall a little bit backwards into that, but also making your way through the field and missing those wrecks, did a really good job of doing that, and just making sure you were there at the end, regardless of how it ended up. It was still a really good race for your 89 machine, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon. Hopefully we get to cover more NORC races.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have won this race anyway. I was far from the fastest person here, so to be in that position was cool. I would have liked to win, of course, but it was just for fun. A good win to Jared. I mean, it sucks what happened in the last corner there, but like I said, it's not for points. We're here to put on some fun, and I'm sure at least that was pretty fun to watch.
Oh, it was tons of fun to watch. 3, almost 4 wide for the lead in most of the race. Once we were actually racing, obviously you mentioned a lot of cautions tonight, but that's just kind of how it goes. I prefaced the event just by saying, this is definitely going to be, it's an exhibition. You guys are going to throw some moves that you might not normally throw for points, or that you might normally throw and just want to practice for him. So it was definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun.
These guys are used to having fenders and bumping off each other. We can't do that here.
We noticed David Shutt, Nathan Lewis looked like they tried to door each other off into one once, and didn't quite work out. Thankfully, though, didn't have the wreck that time. Then, down through the grass the next time around. But definitely, thanks for your time. And quickly, before we let you go, tell everybody where we can find your streams.
Oh, yeah, SW Sephy, SEPHY. Stream on the old Twitch, and then upload them to YouTube later, usually the next day.
And all those crash compilations that so many people just decide they want to make their own videos out of. But no, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But,
yeah.
We'll leave that one for another day, I think. But regardless, thanks for your time, Sean. Hopefully we get to cover more of these and talk to you more.
Yep. Thanks, y'all.
And again, that was Sean Williams. Definitely, I think, 100% humble in the fact that he kind of fell backwards. And we're gonna play this this last lap again right here on the screen. You can see this one happen again. And we'll even play it from the onboard of Jared Darling right quick if I can get there quickly. I'm trying to avoid my cat who's now on the desk. Apologies there. But, right, yep, just the slightest contact. He just pulled down behind Sean. Perfect timing, the slightest contact, and tagged him there, sent him up the racetrack. But a really good race overall, Cole, in a really good way to end it off. I know Sean probably didn't like that bump and run at the end, but still, I think one of the better ways to finish one of these races.
Well, this has honestly been one of the more fun races to call. Probably the most fun I've actually had calling one of these races with you, Andrew. But it's overall just a fun night for these guys in NORC. Sean's such a good sport about it because this is not worth any points. This is not for no money or anything. They're just out here to have fun. So it's good to see these guys having a little fun with the finish there. And congrats to Jared for just honestly trying to move, because I wouldn't normally try a bump and run on a 1.5 mile oval in general, let alone in an IndyCar where you can just ramp over the wheels. That's more of a short track deal.
Yeah, you usually see that in a car with bumpers and fenders, not a car with a couple of wings and a gearbox. Definitely, I think he mentioned he didn't even mean to make that move, but he did it pretty well to end up with the race win. So we'll quickly run through your overall results at the end of the day here. Jared Darling, we've been talking about it since the checkered flag flew. The big win, not for points or money or anything like we've talked about, but the big win here in this exhibition race for the NORC iRacing series in the IndyCars here at Texas. Sean Williams ends up coming home P2, still a really good run for him. Then it's Justin Lisenby, we talked to him. Same as Scott Taylor. We even talked to Aaron Smith earlier in the race. He didn't sound the happiest, maybe the most optimistic about his race going forward, but when we talked to him, he was mired back in the teens, and he comes home with a top 5. So big run for him. Bobby Chaney comes home 6th. Then it's Taylor Fry. Scott Shire, he comes home 8th. Zach DeMarsh and Spencer Madden, despite being 4 laps down, rounds out your top 10.
After that, David Shutt and Nathan Lewis round out the next 2 spots in 11th and 12th. Anthony Emery comes home 13th place. John Barry's going to be 14th. Zoltan Herzig comes home 15th. Elijah Grassi is 16th. Lucas Smith brings his car home 17th place finish, even though it was out of the race well on into the early going there. Will Klein came home with 18th. Joseph Lombard's going to come home 19th, the usual broadcaster of these NORC races. And Nate Stewart's going to bring it home P20.
And the back few cars here, 21st through 26th, you have James Simmons, 63 laps down. Daniel Falkingham, 68 down. We talked to him at one point in the race as well. And then it's Tom Mercier. He has an early exit again from one of these IndyCar races, this time a different series, but he still comes home P23, 72 laps down. Then it's Josh Robin, the number 8 machine. He finishes 24th. When it's all said and done, 75 laps out of the lead. Then it's Terrell Baker, 78 laps down, and Justin Gable, 83, after getting stuck in the catch fence in turns 3 and 4, 83 laps down. Definitely not the night you want to have if you're him. But a lot of big names mired in the back. A lot of big names come through for the win, such as Jared Darling and Sean Williams for P2. Cole, it was a pleasure to have you alongside of me as always. This has been Pit Stop TV, this time to you live on YouTube once more, but still on our new Twitch channel. And again, you can search Pit Stop TV on YouTube to find us there, or go to, gosh, I gotta think again, twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV to find us there. So this has been a whole lot of fun. We thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll try and get you a couple of blimp views. Look at this beautiful racetrack here in Fort Worth, Texas, as we bid you farewell, and hopefully you join us next week. We've got, let's see, got to think about this for a second. We've got the Pro Mazdas coming to you from the Daytona Road Course next week. That'll be the SRCA Pro Mazda Series. Then a week after will be the IndyCars at Indianapolis, and we should have Cole and Victor alongside for both of those. We also have openings, especially with obviously the coronavirus situation. We have more time. Don't want to talk about that situation too much, but we have more time to broadcast these races. So if you want to get us to cover your league races, or even just one-offs or whatever, hit us up. Let us know. We'll figure something out and hopefully cover that race for you. But it's been a lot of fun again, Cole, and we'll be seeing you again next week. Make sure to tune in. The SRCA, the Sim Racers Club of America, Pro Mazda Pro F2000 race from the Daytona Road Course. That should be a lot of fun. Until then, though, have a great night, and we'll be seeing you.